Okay guys, we're gonna take a break from doing dumpster rentals in the backup truck today, and I'm gonna show you something kind of special. I'm gonna take you for a ride along with my brother who runs his own business, and believe it or not, he works at FedEx, but he actually owns the routes that FedEx does here. So the cool thing is, we got one of the stealth mobiles today. This one's not even branded up. We're gonna take it for a ride and see what this is all about. What's up, dude? Oh my gosh, it's so dusty. Is this a gravel road day? Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. Gotta be official. When was the last time you washed this?
Is that my long sleeve?
You been looking for that?
Oh no, that's a big one.
Oh boy. That's it. I work for FedEx now. No, I work for S&B Logistics. Shake and bake, baby. So give me the lowdown. How full are we today?
This is easy. This isn't even a real route. This is fake.
You're just basically filling in?
Losing money.
Ooh. Explain what you mean. What do you mean losing money?
If I put my own employee on this, it would not make money. In order to make even a penny, this thing's got to be full on every shelf, floor to ceiling, tires, laundry machines, refrigerators.
So basically you're just filling in for your drivers today, like in the gap, and you're basically working for free. How many trucks do you have out? Like right now?
I have 12 out.
12 out, so that means 12 trucks, 12 employees, and your 12 other trucks are stuffed.
Yeah.
From what I understand, you're in the Quincy terminal, which is on the Illinois side, but all of your routes are actually in Missouri, right?
Yeah.
So we live in the tri-states, and that means we're basically gonna cross the bridge here, which is only about 5 or 10 minutes away. And then once we cross the bridge, we're gonna be delivering on the Missouri side of the tri-state area. So we're going on the Missouri side, but there's different contractors that work out of that terminal, right?
Yeah, there's 5 of us out of that terminal, which is pretty small for most buildings. And now they're pretty well evenly sized, because we just had one guy drop out. We've had the same contract. I've been here 5 or 6 years, and I've seen, I think, 5 different contractors take over this one area that just seems to be a death trap for drivers and contractors. So
you guys have just been filling in all that?
Yeah, I've been filling in that for a while.
But somebody else finally just took it?
Yeah, somebody else has got it.
So you're back to just kind of running your own operation the way it's always been?
Yeah.
Besides filling in, all that extra stuff, your own route's actually pretty big, at least area-wise, right?
So an hour 15 minutes from Quincy. That's why a route like this, you can't make any money just because you have to pay a guy
to drive all that time.
2 hours just to drive to his first stop and to come back from his first stop. So 2 hours of wages, 2 hours of driving for fuel, you're already out, a couple $100.
And then let's not even talk about the maintenance on these trucks, especially going down those gravel roads all day long.
Yeah, your tires, your oil changes, they don't stop.
On 129?
129, yeah.
Okay, there's some kind of fluid that was on all the tires. And I walked through the building and see just now on the ground. We have to check that truck, bro.
Okay. When did we do the brakes on that one?
I'd have to look at my stuff, but I don't know when he'll get back, but I'm just saying there's an obvious sign of something's in distress there.
All right, he should be back a little bit earlier today, probably.
Okay, I'll look at it when he gets here.
Okay, cool.
All right,
thanks.
Yep.
That's it.
How much do you think you guys are spending in fuel per week?
Week? 5,000, 6,000 bucks.
On the first delivery, and I can definitely see why Caleb says this is a losing battle sometimes, because we're on one single gravel road that came off the main road. We're already, 2 miles into it? And we probably have several miles to go, and it's just...
Not a single house.
Not a single house out here. So, the sad part is...
Look at the mirror. Look at all the dust.
Oh my gosh. terrible. That's so bad for your truck, so bad for your tires. The sad part is we could get all the way down here, and with the way addresses are and GPSs are, this house might not even be here.
I don't know where this house is.
That's bad. Because you deliver so often, you would normally have delivered this by now, right?
Never been up here.
Great. It seems like it does exist. The first delivery is happening. So, how good have you gotten at driving gravel roads? Because, I mean, let's be honest, they can be a little sketchy. Do you make some of your drivers nervous when they ride with you?
I try to keep it on the slower side, but if there was a rally cross FedEx truck, I think I'd have a shot at it.
Woo! You gotta do what you gotta do. So, outside of gas, what's one of the most, like, frustrating, like, overhead expenses you have to take care of that maybe people don't realize?
Besides the trucks, insurance, and paying the employees, tires is next after that. Because as soon as it can be tough to keep up on everything and making sure that the tires are still good. So if you get a flat out of an hour and a half away from Quincy, sometimes at 6, 7 o'clock at night,
Just ruins the whole day.
it just ruins the whole day.
Because then you still might have packages loaded that either need to get delivered or, you know, you get hit on having to deliver them the next day, right?
Yep.
How hard is it to keep these trucks running? I mean, you have pretty decent trucks. Like, you're not driving around junk. I mean, it might seem like a little dirty in here, but you got to imagine, like, gravel roads all day. This thing isn't airtight. I mean, it's going to be pouring dust in. What's it like actually keeping these things maintained?
It's tough. We got a good mechanic at the shop for the most part, so he tackles everything without really me having to tell him what to do. He'll do oil changes, he takes care of that stuff. He'll let me know when something looks wrong. And I mean, all my drivers will say that all these trucks are junk, but
They're not paying for them.
that's what happens when they see 300 miles of gravel every day. So it is what it is.
Am I supposed to help you carry anything, or? No, you got this. In reality, it took you a second just to find one package. What happens when this thing's just absolutely loaded?
Well, one of the most frustrating things that's out of my control, sorry to just piss and moan at FedEx, but these package handlers suck. It's like, I've got 25 stops on this thing. Why are all my packages on the floor here? I've got all these shelves to organize these things, and I'm digging through a pile that's just sitting here. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah, because you don't hire the package handlers. FedEx takes care of that.
Package handlers all FedEx, and they seem to get away with murder.
So, as a contractor who owns the routes, are you paid weekly? Are you paid per package? Is it a hybrid of the two? Like, how is FedEx actually paying contractors?
I get paid every Friday. The majority of my stuff is the packages I deliver, the per stop, per package, and then you get a small base pay every week, and that is really it.
So really, all your overhead needs to be pretty well predicted, because that's your biggest expense, and all the overhead that comes from it. So you have to calculate that ahead of time. And I'm guessing that per package pay is probably negotiated every year, right?
Yeah, it changes every year pretty much. But it stays about the same. And you'd be surprised with the amount of volume that you do. You would think it would fluctuate, but really the checks you get are pretty consistent up until Christmas time.
And I bet Christmas is nice.
Christmas is nice. For the most part, you just hold on to the money you make from Christmas for the rest of the year and hope that you make it to the next Christmas.
Everybody is under the impression, for the most part, that FedEx packages are delivered by FedEx employees and FedEx as the owner, but it's all contract, at least around here, especially these rural routes. So, like, how did you get into this?
I fell into it. I started working as a package handler when I was 18 while I was going to college to be a pilot my end goal at the time was, I could work at FedEx, and then maybe I could, maybe that'll look good on the resume, and maybe I could fly for FedEx one day. And that was a pipe dream. They don't care if I was a damn package handler. Stupid.
It's an absolute dust cloud back here. with that, how did the rest of college go?
So I kept going to college, and I was still working at FedEx. I got myself into an office position there at the terminal. Did that for a couple years, still kept going to school. Once I turned 21, I was still in school, and I wasn't making very much at the office position, and I pretty much told them, hey, you guys need to start paying me more or I'm gonna go somewhere else. And they didn't end up paying me more, and I didn't go very far. I went to one of the contractors in the building and I said, hey, I'm gonna start driving. And this was right as COVID started, so all my classes were online at the time in college, and it was good because I was failing a couple of them, so I just ended up buying, what's that thing called? Quizlet, maybe? Yeah, Quizlet online or whatever. Best $15 I ever spent. Got me some C's instead of F's, and went to school while I was still becoming a driver. And about, I don't know, 6 months into becoming a driver, my boss, who owned the contract, he's from out of town, he just put a bug in my ear. For some reason, some 21-year-old kid, I don't know what he saw in me, he's like, hey, if you're ever interested in buying this stuff, come my way. And eventually, I don't know if he talked me into it, I talked myself into it. He told me to drop out of school, and I dropped out of school. And we had some conversations, and eventually, that's what I ended up deciding to do, apparently.
How many semesters did you have left?
1.
So 1 semester left, decides to drop out of college, decides to buy another contractor's route, which I assume came with some of the trucks and everything. I roughly know what you spent, but we're not going to get into that. But I can already hear some of the comments. Must be nice to have daddy's money, blah, blah, blah. Our dad definitely paid for it, right? Yeah. That's how it happened?
No.
Not at all.
The money I spent was from what I saved when I was 16 years old, bagging groceries at Ivy
on Broadway.
All we did was save money and eat our own fish.
Of course, you didn't pay just cash. I mean, at the end of the day, you did have to get a loan for your business, right?
Oh, the banks are stupid. 21-year-old college dropout showing up to the bank on a 50-year-old motorcycle, and they give me way too much money. I don't know.
I remember you, I distinctly remember you pulling together this business plan and you being like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, it was a miserable process. I mean, it was 9 months of business plans that I stole from the internet. I didn't think it was ever actually going to happen, but sure enough, it's funny. I told my boss when I showed up, I'm like, you realize you just sold your business to a 21-year-old college dropout that showed up on a 50-year-old motorcycle? You are an idiot.
I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember you telling me, like, the day you were closing on the business, kind of like a mortgage, when you would close on a mortgage, everybody meets together. Something happened and it almost fell apart. I don't remember the details of it, but then I remember when it was over, you were just absolutely relieved. And it just goes to show how fragile a deal like that is.
Well, if you remember, I ended up borrowing a stack of cash from you because...
Oh, yeah, and I wasn't in town.
Yeah, you were out of town.
Oh,
I had
my
some
God.
stocks, so everything was paid
That's
for.
right.
The stocks that I had from, I was 17, so I had a decent stock market portfolio.
That was from, what's that, Robinhood. You cashed out your Robinhood.
From the sale of the house that you bought. So basically, you bought this business.
I did. I bought your triplex, which you house hacked. So Caleb also house hacked, where he basically he got a mortgage at like 3.5%, and then he lived in one unit and rented out 2 others. And then from there, I bought your apartment, which I used the proceeds of that, the money you had saved, and then you got, I'm going to say lucky, but you did your research, and you actually did. I remember your Robinhood app was crazy compared to what you'd actually put into it. right, you did. You went into my house. I told you where a stack of cash was, and that was somehow down to like $50 all I had in my house. Yeah. And that's what the deal was closed with. Yeah. Oh. And it wasn't the fact that Caleb didn't have the cash. The fact was, when he had cashed out his portfolio online of stocks, there was a delay from when it would actually hit his bank. So he had plenty to close. He just needed that bit. So he ended up borrowing that bit from me, and then like 2 days later, he paid it back. So it just somehow, it was kind of a meant to be moment, because I did not have that much in my house, but $50 more. And he broke into my house, basically found it, and got to his sale a few minutes after that. Oh, tires. So where was the point where it basically started to get easier?
It never got easier.
Surely it had to get a little bit more manageable, though.
After I was still alive for the first year, I kind of knew I was going to be all right, at least.
You were going to at least survive.
I was going to survive. I'll probably be doing this for a while. Really, the only reason I've kept afloat to this point is my team of drivers. Luckily, I started out with a great team of drivers. I still have a great team of drivers. I got several day one guys. Shout out Lucas, shout out Lisa, shout out Eric, shout out Tyler. They show up every day. They bang it out every day. They know what they're doing. They don't bother me. They help me out. They tell me when stuff's wrong. They keep it together. So I can't thank my drivers enough. They're really what keeps everything going.
So give me the lowdown. What does an average day look like for you?
Driving, or if I'm not driving?
I mean, just in general, what does an average day look like?
Things operating smoothly. I show up, make sure trucks are loaded good, make sure drivers are showing up, make sure everybody's delivery and pickup manifest are right, and ideally, I do nothing all day, but that never happens. Something always breaks, someone's always calling, something's not in the right spot, somebody's got a flat tire,
somebody's ran off the road, a transmission's exploded.
Hey, I'm stuck, come pull me out.
Yeah, you really fabbed up your Jeep this year just to basically pull people out on the weekly, especially in the winter.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of my, used to be one of my biggest bills is tow bills. Just going to yank somebody out. It takes a guy 10 minutes. He'll charge you $700 to pull him out of a ditch.
So you just kind of put that investment into your Jeep, which really wasn't a whole lot, and you were able to yank most of them out.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it'd be nice to keep the guys out of the ditches, but a lot of the times it's usually dirt roads that turn into mud,
which then turn into ice.
Mud, or, yeah.
In the wintertime, man, these people don't understand that don't drive these roads. These in the winter, when you start to get into the negative temps, I mean, they're traps. What are you doing? No bathrooms out here, kids. So, what's one of like the worst things you hate getting phone calls about? Because I know when my phone rings during the day and I see that it's Keegan, the guy that works for me, my heart sometimes just drops. I'm like, oh, what is it now? Like, what went wrong? What's one of like the worst calls you've gotten?
Every time my phone rings, I have a small heart attack. Because, especially once I read the name and it's a certain person that I know, this guy's only calling me because something's wrong.
Yeah, because normally he wouldn't bother you.
Engine's blown. A couple months ago, I think I lost 4 motors in 4 weeks.
Oh,
well, one of them was in my own Jeep, so.
Oh, that doesn't count.
That doesn't count, but 3 FedEx motors in 3 weeks.
How many miles did some of those FedEx motors have?
Well, one of them had almost 500,000, so
that's a good one.
One of them had 60,000. This one, it was this one actually that had 66,000, and they would have given me a new one for free if it was under 60.
No! To recover vehicles, in the snow, in the mud, sometimes, they get swamped, whatever it is. What's one of the worst, recovery stories you have?
Well, my buddy Curtis, he owns a lawn care business, and this really wasn't terrible, but it was terrible.
Oh, I videoed that. I could probably clip some of that in here. Oh man. That's wild. On the road.
He plows in the winter, so he's got the most experience in the snow, and he ends up actually not far from we are, in a ditch, 7 o'clock at night, downpour of snow. They're closing all the highways. I don't know what he was doing. His phone was dead. I get a call from some random number that he just happened to find. Hey, your driver's out here in the middle of nowhere. Got this truck almost flipped over. I gotta go out, and it was tough for me to get to him in my Jeep that night. It was sketchy. We ended up having to leave that there for another 2 days, just because Missouri Department of Transportation couldn't even get those roads cleared off.
I remember that one. That was a nightmare.
That was a tough one.
Fresh tires. What? Those will last a couple weeks, if we're lucky. Is the cab gonna clear that? Oh, you really go slow because you really wonder if it's gonna. Somebody's rubbed it before. Holy moly! I don't think this guy realizes he's about to turn around. Dude, you are incredibly hydrated. Look at that stream. Got some doggos. Did they ever bite you?
I don't think these guys like me.
Down to only a couple packages left. So through all the madness, all the sacrifice, all the risk, I know you're probably spending more money than you ever have. But at the end of the day, has it been worth
it? 2,000 years later.
I got nothing better to do, I guess.
I know Caleb won't say it, but he's doing really well. It is a very hard business to be in. This is not a video of me encouraging you to start something like this. It took sacrifice and an insane amount of risk. Let's be clear to anybody watching. This isn't a business you start as a side hustle and then try to grow. This is a I'm all in or I'm all out type of business.
So this is not going to be passive income for quite a while, if ever.
Just got done with that last package. Time to head home. Never mind. One of their trucks was making a noise. We checked the fluids and, well, transmission fluid's a little low. $43 for one? Eesh. Oh, let's get it everywhere. So, we figured out what it is. The bracket to the transmission tube broke, so the transmission fluid's not even getting to the transmission. In order to get it home, we just went ahead and cut part of the can, got it taped, and basically from here, they'll drive it home and go ahead and get it. You pouring it in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not leaking. That's what we need. Headed home to take care of business. On a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a deal is that compared to normal things?
2.
A 2 out of 10, kids. Well, all in all, it wasn't too bad of a day. There you go. Uneventful's kind of good, isn't it? So from here, I actually got a couple calls for dumpsters. I need to go run those real quick. Do appreciate it because a lot of people ask. So, you got anything you want to say to them?
Don't do drugs. Have a great day.
Appreciate it as always, dude. If you know anything about my brother, he's well-spoken, but well-spoken with few words. So this was a great opportunity for me to interview him because he doesn't talk a whole lot. You don't know what's going on in his life unless you ask. Appreciate you guys watching the channel, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to subscribe. You can see some other stuff in the future. We'll continue to try to make things like this or even better things. And if you want to stick around for another 5 minutes, you can kind of see what Caleb and I like to do for fun. Sometimes you need to just break away from all the work and just go have a little bit of fun. And nothing's more fun than hanging out with family and going fast. I'm gonna take you on a warm-up lap of one of the coolest park race tracks in the country. It is just nostalgic. This track has been around for a long time, but in the daytime, it's just a park. But for 3 days, it's shut down to the public, and us karters get to go around in circles and go as fast as we want. The crazy thing is, my brother is incredibly fast in a go-kart. Considering the fact that he has one of the oldest karts here, we race vintage karts. We love to race older karts. It's its own class to get to race these older type of karts. And my brother, he is an excellent driver in what seems to be any kart. There's a lot of freedom in this class too, so everybody has slight modifications to their kart. Some people have one engine, some people have two engines, some have more CCs, some people way less. It's a pretty open event, so you never really know what you're going to be racing against. Caleb's kart has one of the hardest geometries to drive because it's incredibly narrow and the tube frame does not flex very well, so it does not like to slide around. Even mine, that's only a few years newer, is just a better setup. But the funny thing is, Caleb in practice is running better lap times with a single motor than some guys have two motors. He's throwing down insane times for these vintage karts. So based on our qualifying time, Caleb's taking first position. Second and third place have dual motors, and then I'm taking fourth. There's only about a half a second between me, the duals, and then Caleb. So it's a very tight window, but let's do a rear-facing view and just see how far Caleb can pull away. So within 3 turns, Caleb has pretty much left the pack. He's chasing down the dual that got a nice jump on him, of course, because he's got 2 of the same motors. And at this point, I'm battling already from 5th to 3rd place, trying to catch up with Caleb, but he's just laying down crazy times. Unfortunately, Caleb's fast run came to an end. So it's hard to tell, but that's kind of bent up. What is this bent up from?
That's my leg that hit that.
As you left the cart?
So I exited the vehicle.
Oh, an absolute ejection. And then it's hard to see, but there is a slight bend in the axle. So, never fun. What exactly happened there?
This was a quick story of either I'm going to finish first or I'm going to put this thing into the wall.
And what happened?
I put it into the wall.
You put it in the wall hard. He was being aggressive. He was trying to get around the dual. Like I said, the thing has more power, so he needed to make just the right move, and you missed that by an inch.
If you're not first,
You're last. Good. Let me get it. 2 seconds later, I went by because I was in chase towards those guys, and honestly, terrible way to get second. I would have much rather have taken 3rd place and watched my brother overtake that duel, but Caleb was just laying down such crazy times in such an inappropriate kart that it was a real shame to see it. But at the end of the day, as I passed by, I was just happy to see him walking. So luckily Caleb's okay. A little work needs to be done to the kart, and we'll be back next year.